गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. So, in the last verse, which was the third wave, that was wave of thought, which was presented, the dangers of not following the path of renunciation or the path of action was presented to us. Now, the fourth wave begins, and here, what will happen when we follow the first path, or the path of renunciation or knowledge, or the path of action? What is the goal that we will achieve? As a result of that and what is that eternal fulfillment by achieving that goal that we'll experience, that is expressed in these coming four verses. Four verses. It says, Anejadekam manaso javiyo, Anejadekam manaso javiyo, Nainadeva apnuvan purvamarshata, Nainadeva apnuvan purvamarshata, Tadhavato jnanatyeti tishtata, Tadhavato jnanatyeti tishtata, Tasminnapo matarishva dadhati, Tasminnapo matarishva dadhati. It says, the Anej dekam manaso javiyo nainat deva apnuvan purva marshata tadhavato nyanat eti tishtata tasmin napo matarishva dadhati. The self is motionless, one, swifter than the mind. The devas could not overtake. It ran before them. Sitting, it goes faster than those who run after it. By it, Matarishwan supports the activity of all beings, the element air. Now here, a positive affirmation as to what this reality is. So these adjectives are used, what it does in order to bring the student, the seeker, to intuitively, for him to intuitively intuit this reality. Because it is not that where the intellect can reach. So what is that we are searching? What is that which we are seeking by following the first two paths? It is that this reality that which we are seeking is motionless. And what is this motionless, what is this motionlessness which is being expressed of the self? When it says that it is motionless, don't misunderstand that it is inable or it is the inability of the Supreme to move. No, it is not like that. It is not even that the Supreme is impotent. No, it is not important. So what is being talked about here? Here the word motionless is uh, is indicating, because what we understand motion to be a change, correct. Okay. The motion is known through a movement in space and time, isn't it? And the faster the motion is represented as the speed, isn't it? But where will the self move in space and time? It is pervading the space and time. So where will it go? There is nowhere for it to go. So therefore it is motionless. But it is not an inert state. It is a totally dynamic state. Meditation is not a lazy state. Meditation, where your mind has subsided and you are totally awake to that unfolded mind. It is pure dynamic, alert state. But those people who are sitting in meditation and gone to sleep, that is not a meditation. That is going into sleep or into trance. We are not talking about that. So, this Atman, this self, cannot move because everywhere it is pervading, and an all-pervasive reality does not need to move anywhere because it is everywhere. See, I am sitting here, you are sitting on this chair, but you are not sitting on that chair, isn't it? To move from this chair to that chair, for some distance needs to be covered, correct? Automatically motion will come. But this self, it is pervading everywhere. It is pervading the total time, it is pervading the total space. Where is that place where it is not? Is there any place where it is not? No. Is there any time, past, present or future, where it is not? No, there is not. And therefore motionless. But it is dynamically motionless. And in this way the word anejat, here the word is used, anejad ekam manaso javiyo. Anejat. Anejat means motionless. It means steady. It means changeless. And these are, and again the word they used was ekam. Ekam means one. One is opposite of many, isn't it? Anek, ekam, anekam. Anekam means, this is Sanskrit. Anek means many. Ek means one alone. So here the opposite. Motion is opposite of, motionlessness is opposite of moving. What is the world? Continuously moving, isn't it? What is the self? It is motionless. Self is steady and the world is continuously running. The earth is revolving, at its own axis, the earth is revolving around the sun. The men are continuously running from house to work, work to shop, shop to work, home. Continuously we are running around everywhere. But the self, does it need to run anywhere? No, it is steady. And third, the self is changeless and the world is continuously changing. Total opposite. And this self is one alone. It is not many. And therefore, this one principle that we are talking about is pervading the seeming manyness. The seeming time, space and objectivity. Therefore, putting an attention on it, we can come to experience the unity in diversity. Anejata, it is the one in many. Then second it is said that it is swifter than the mind. Here it says that manaso javiyo, second word, anejadekam manaso javiyo. So anejadekam we have explained. Manaso javiyo. Manaso javiyo means that it is swifter than the mind. What does mind? How is it swifter than the mind? What is the capacity of a mind? To imagine anything, isn't it? So how can it be swifter than the mind?
Steady.
No, steady we have already done. You have to think in a different way. These ways, by thinking in this manner, what happens? We are coming to recognize that this is what I am. I am the motionless principle. I am that one who is pervading the total multiplicity. I am that unity in diversity, not as this, everything that is other than the conscious principle. So here when it is saying that that it is swifter than the mind, don't talk about it to others. No, it is swifter than your mind. How it is swifter than your mind?
Because it's all knowing at all times, so it doesn't have to move.
True, but how does mind function? It thinks of something and immediately, if I say, think of your daughter, immediately the mind has thought what she could be doing, immediately her room will come into your mind, or what clothes she was wearing when she came to see you in the morning, or she might be studying and preparing for exams at her table. All those pictures will come, isn't it? That means at a moment's notice the mind went there, isn't it? It is saying the self is swifter than the mind. Why? Because for the mind to imagine something, that thing or that being has to exist first. So existence is the common denominator. Without something existing, can the mind reach it? Cannot. See? Cannot reach it. So before the mind reaches your daughter, existence is already there. And existence is one of the ways, one of the definitions of the self by which we understand it. Self is existence, consciousness, bliss, isn't it?
So that kind of creates that environment something?
No, we are not, don't go into that. Just stay with the thought that for the mind to get to some place or time, so place will be anywhere on this planet or outside in the universe. Time will be past, present or future, into a memory or into a future something, isn't it? For it to get there, suppose it wants to go into some past memory. That past memory must exist, only then it can go there, isn't it? True or not? Suppose it wants to go to some time, to some place on this planet. That place must exist in order for the mind to go and apprehend, to imagine that. Go to Niagara Falls. You have never been there, but the mind is now going there, trying to bring out a picture where Niagara Falls is, how it looks, the water, the huge waterfalls, everything. But the Niagara Falls has to exist in order for the mind to reach it. Mind cannot imagine something that which does not exist. Can it?
But imagination might be completely different to what the actual thing is.
Does not matter, but that imagination must exist before. So now you are painting, you are a painter, you paint. That painting has never existed anywhere, no one has done that painting before. It's an act of revelation. Your mind is coming up, sometimes this idea comes, sometimes that idea comes, sometimes this, something, whatever is happening, the process. Now for that to happen, that idea, the moment that mind catches that idea and expresses it through your hand, that is what is happening.
Oh, it existed before. It actually manifested through the brain and everything.
Yeah, it exists. It's just a moment difference, because how quickly can you get to your daughter? Do you have to physically go there? No, you imagine and she's there. How quickly can you get to an imagination? You think and the imagination is there. But if imagination cannot exist, you cannot imagine. You're understanding what I'm saying?
This is faster, is it what you're talking about?
Who is faster?
Like, the topic is
The self is swifter, faster than the mind. Okay. Now think one more way. Okay, we will leave it. That thought will come somewhere else. We will present that there. Now, so reality is present everywhere in the form of existence, and before the mind can reach that spot in this creation, in this universe, anywhere in the past, present, future, or anywhere in this creation, the existence is already existing, and in this way the self is swifter than the mind. Then comes that so if the self is swifter than the mind, which means it is all pervasive. Yes, we already said that it is all pervasive. But see, when we say all pervasive, infinite, eternal, all omniscient, etc., all these adjectives, attributes we put on the self, the person who is contemplating, sometimes he gets afraid. He realizes, oh my God, this self that I am is more expansive than the total space. Oh. When the children see through the telescope, what do they see? That infinite sky, or they see that beautiful moon and it is so close. Isn't it? It's a wonderment. The magnitude of that experience is enormous. So magnitude of this experience, that this self that I am essentially is all pervasive in nature. That means I am pervading everything, every time and every being. Breathing stops. Yes. Mind, not only breathing stops, mind stops. Mind cannot reach that which is beyond it. Mind is because of the self. Not the self is because of the mind. Self is independent. Now the next word it says is, the Devas could not overtake it, it ran before them. Tadhavato nyanyat yeti tishtata. No, nainat deva apnuvan purva marshata. The Devas could not overtake it. It ran before them. How does the self run before the Devas? Who are the gods? Gods are the divine potentials behind your sense perceptions in day-to-day terms. In Gita we can go, it is not only the divine potential behind your senses, but it is also the divine potential behind your organs of action, the speech, hands, legs, anus and genital organs. So behind every part of your aspect, body, breath, mind, intellect, there is a potential energy which is expressing. Now here it is saying that the Devas could not overtake the self as it was running before the potential energy. Meaning what? What do you do with the senses? You perceive the world. You perceive the names and forms. Where are the names and forms? In the space. What is the substratum of the space? Existence. So existence is already there. The self is already there. So the senses are running towards the world, but actually the self is already there. So that is if you go outwards. Now go backwards. Who are the senses? How are the senses functioning? Are they functioning for themselves? No. There is some power because of which they are functioning. What is that? Mind. Is the mind collecting all the stimuli for itself? No. For whom it is doing? Oh, for the intellect. But is the intellect able to function by itself, or it is the thoughts and ideas there are being illuminated by someone else? Can function express in a dead man? No. Then there is some conscious principle within this person who is illuminating the mind, and as a result the mind is going out through the senses to catch the world or experience the world. So again this way also the self was already there. You go outwards, the self is already there. So therefore senses are continuously running, the devas are continuously running, but the self is running before them. Because whatever they run after, whatever the senses go after, whatever the mind goes after, whatever the potential that is expressing within us goes after. Suppose my hand has to go and grab something, that is the function of the hand. The potential in the hand is to grab or release. Now there must be something to grab or release, isn't it? It has to be existing first for the hand to exist. So did the hand come first, or that existence of that object, not just the object, but the existence in that object was already there. So therefore the devas could not overtake it as it ran before them. This thought also came in the Kena Upanishad, where the Yaksha Purusha, he said that don't have the arrogance. I am there before you. So, then it says, the second verse, Yad dhavato jnanat eti tishtata. It says, sitting, it goes faster than those who run after it. Sitting, it goes faster than who run after it. See, all contradictions are being presented to us. How? Sitting, it goes faster than those who run after it. See, we have experienced movement without moving. Have you ever experienced movement without moving?
Yes.
Tell example.
In the train.
Ah. You are sitting in a stationary train and another train comes and it is going parallel to your train. And suddenly you have a feeling that your train is moving. Because your attention is on the movement of the other train. It gets superimposed on your train and literally you feel.
Yes.
When you look out of the car, it seems the road is running. And therefore the car is moving forward. If you look out, the road is not moving, car is moving. But you have a feeling that the road is moving. Sitting, it goes faster than those who run after it. Another example, take, it's like the railway engine, steam engine. Steam engine, can it move by itself? No. But the steam makes the engine move. So we can rightly say first the steam the steam is motionless, it is sitting in the engine and all the bogies are following it because it is making the engine move. Similarly, this self, it does not need to move anywhere. It is stationary, it is silent, it is quiet, and it is motionless. But it is not an inert entity, and therefore this self is beyond activity and inactivity. It is beyond the both, and therefore it is sitting and it goes faster than those who run after it. The self thus is not only all pervading, but it is the very substance and dynamism in all movements and the very force behind everything which causes the activity in life. And presided over by this self, can all the transactions in life take place through these matter envelopments, the body, breath, mind and intellect. Without this principle, no equipment can ever function. Without the electricity, none of the gadgets will function. The same way, is the electricity moving anywhere? No. So, did electricity come first or the heating come first? Did electricity come first or the movement or running of the fan come first? Which one? Electricity. But electricity does not move anywhere. See? So therefore, without moving, it is fast. It goes faster than those who run after it or go after it. And then the last part of the verse says, Tasmin napo matarishva dadhati. And this Matarishva, in the last part of it is, Matarishva is the Lord of the atmospheric air. And it says, this air supports all the activities of life because it derives the life force from this all-pervasive consciousness, this all-pervasive self. And therefore, and spreads it out to everything and everyone. And as a result, together, this consciousness and life make a whole, and it is this life force distributes that dynamism and vigor to everything around in this universe. But it cannot do that without this unchanging principle. This Matarishva which is being said, Mata means space, and from space comes air, and that air is the total airs which is nourishing every being. And from that comes the water, that also nourishes every being. If there is no water, human beings cannot be. Because there is water, there is life. And what is the space age doing? They are searching for water on Moon, on Mars and everywhere else. Why? Because if there is water, there can be life. And where is water getting the life from? From the air. And air is because of the Matarishva. The Mat means the space. Akasha, the ether. And ether is because of the substratum, the unchanging principle. That is the all-pervasive principle, the self. And in this manner, from this self, the Akasha Tattva has emerged out, and everything else is a game of cause and effect within this space. Because what is space? That which accommodates. And in that space, air, fire, water, earth, beings, animal, plants, everything, all types of creation, there is cause and effect, and that game is going on. It is our experience that space is not affected disturbed, contaminated by the creation, is it? It is not. If that is true, even more so because in the self is not even contaminated by the Akasha Tattva also, the space. Thus, the supreme, the self, the all-pervasive principle is the very source which nourishes total life and sustains the total life and maintains the total life in this whole creation. And now this thought is being expressed in the 5th verse. I said 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th are one thought where this reality is explained to us so that we can understand the glory of the goal that we are pursuing. So here it says, Tade jati tannai jati, Tade jati tannai jati, Taddure tadvantike, Taddure tadvantike, Tadantarasya sarvasya, Tadantarasya sarvasya, Tadu sarvasyasya bahyata, Tadu sarvasyasya bahyata, Tadai jati tannai jati, Tadadure tadvantike, Tadantarasya sarvasya, Tadu sarvasyasya bahyata. So here he says that the Atman, what is the Atman we have already explained, or it's another name for the self within. The Atman moves and it moves not. It is far and yet it is near. It is within all this and it is also outside all this. So slowly, all our parameters are being broken. Mind is being brought to a point where it cannot think anymore. It comes to a standstill. Because what is the preoccupation of the mind? To objectify, isn't it? So it thinks it can objectify the self also. Therefore it is seeking everywhere, either outside or inside. On the seat of meditation also it is thinking, where is that point, where is that point, where is this witness? It is thinking. We are all culprits of that. So here it is being said, this Atman moves and it moves not. It is far and it is near. It is within all this and it is also outside all this. So we'll take one by one. It says, here the teacher, the master, the sage Yajnavalkya, who is only saying all this to make his students understand the supreme consciousness, that the self is all pervasive. All these things, the 4 verses are talking about all pervasiveness of this infinite principle that we actually are. So here it says it moves. When we saw in the first opening stanza of the Upanishad, there we saw the example of ghost and post. Who was moving? The host. It was opening its mouth, it was flailing its arms, it was making expressions, there were sounds. So the movement was there in the ghost, isn't it? Can the ghost be without the post? No. So it seems that it is moving, but what is moving? The imagination which you have superimposed on the post is moving. So what is moving here? The mind is moving, the world is moving. But world, take the whole world to be in the mind, but the mind cannot move without the substratum. It has to have the conscious principle behind to make it move. See? So, that same substratum, that same principle. Remember the first verse of Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasyam idagam sarvam. That this self, this Isha, this Lord Divine, is the inner controller of the creation and is the creation. It is the efficient cause and the material cause. And what is moving? The material is moving, isn't it? All the instruments move, all the materials move, air, fire, water, earth move. Gross body, vital air sheath, mind, intellect, they move. Waking, dream, deep sleep, they move. But this is all the matter envelopments. But the self is pervading everything. So when it is, and the material that has gone into making everything is itself. So it moves. So all this is moving. The ghost moves. But the pure awareness, the consciousness, it moves not. It remains stationary. The post is not moving. Post is permanent. But without the post, ghost could not express. But ghost is moving. So whatever is superimposed on that which is permanent, that seems to be moving, and that, now in the expression of the ghost and the post is pervading the ghost, isn't it? Because without post, ghost could not come. You could not imagine a ghost without a post. Now the mind is trying to work it out. Come to silence. Come to this conclusion that this all-pervasive principle, it moves also and it moves not also. As the post, it does not move. As a ghost, it moves. As the substratum, it does not move. As the creation, it moves. Second part, just like if you take the ocean and the waves example, there is the waves is only a tiny mini part on the top of the ocean, isn't it? How deep is Pacific Ocean? You know how many kilometers it is? It's about 2-3 kilometers deep. 4 kilometers deep, I think, at its deepest. 4 kilometers. Doesn't seem to be a very big distance. 4 kilometers from here to Hillsville Shopping Center. No, that's 7 kilometers. So even less than that. That's the depth of ocean. But in the depths of the ocean there is no movement. There are no waves. There is no froth. There is no tide. Waters are calm. The movement seems to be only on the top, isn't it? But the ocean is both. The movement also and the silence within also, isn't it? Same way it is with this reality also. It moves and it moves not. It is distant and it is near. The second part is tad dure tad vantike. So that it is distant and it is near. This how it is, it takes, see. Perth, Darwin, Alice Springs, Brisbane, Cairns. Is Australia in Cairns? Is Australia in Perth? Yes. because we are going away from Melbourne. Huh? Where are we now? In Australia. Is Australia in Melbourne? Yes. Is Australia further away? That 2000 kilometers away, Perth. Yeah, Australia is there also. Oh, 4000 kilometers away, Cairns. Yeah, Australia is there also. So here when it says it is distant and it is near. So it is in Ballarat, it is in Glen Waverley, it is in Hillsville, near, but it is also as far as you can go. How far can you go? All over this Australian continent. So Australia is pervading the near and the distant. Now if this example is clear, take the self. Now Australia has the boundaries. Self has got no boundaries. So self is near also, pervading the near as well as the distant. Everything is pervaded by it. It is nearer than the nearest and it is also pervading the farther than the farthest. What is farther than the farthest? Oh, the galaxy, oh, the other galaxy, oh, the other universe. Everything is pervaded by this self, and that self you are. Don't forget that.
The centre with no circumference.
Center with no circumference. Correct. Center with no circumference. So Australia has got no well, here in this example, Australia is not limited by the various cities that are present within Australia, isn't it? Self is not limited by everything that is superimposed on it. Past, present, future, this universe or other universe, the various lokas, the various worlds, nothing limits it or conditions it. It is everywhere. For this, therefore and who can cognize this, that the self is the nearest as well as it is pervading everything that is the farthest to it, that in relatively speaking. A person who has an integrated head and heart, whose the heart, the feeling and the logic both has been synchronized. Only such people can intuit this principle. Otherwise it's not possible. Then it continues, the same idea is continued. Tad antarasya sarvasya. Tad antarasya sarvasya. It is said that it is within all this and it is without all this also. So what is within all this? Not only is this Atman the central core, as you said, it is the center without circumference, it is the central core of ourselves. Now don't think that this reality is within me and not in others. No, it is the same one which is expressing through every being. So don't think that it is only within you. Otherwise again frustration will come. Then you will want to improve the world. Then you will want to correct the world. No, we want to stop all that. Why? And how can you stop it? By recognizing that, first recognizing your essential nature and also understanding that this essential nature that you have intuited yourself to be is all pervading in its essence. Then what will happen? Then everything is perfect, the world is just perfect. The creation is as it should be. The substratum of the creation is that reality. Substratum, when we say creation is as it should be, don't think that ghost is perfect as it should be. No. Ghost cannot express without a post. So the changing, don't put your attention on that. Put the attention on the changeless within this world. What is the changeless within this world? That you catch. We have talked about it enough. Either you can catch the isness outside or the illuminating principle within. Both ways. And in this way, we find that in this verse, 6 times that word is being used. Tad, tad ejati, tad annajati, tad dure, tad vantike, tad antarasya, tad u sarvasya. In this way, tad, 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 tad. And that tad is the that. That moves not, that moves, that is which is within, that which is without all this, that which is distant, that which is near. And this way our attention was brought to that principle which is all pervasive in its nature. And this way, continuing that thought, now it goes, Yastu sarvani bhutani, Yastu sarvani bhutani, Atmanyevānupashyati, Atmanyevānupashyati, Sarvabhuteshu Chatmanam, Sarvabhuteshu Chatmanam, Tato na vijugupsate, Tato na vijugupsate. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevānupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. It says, he who constantly sees everywhere all existence in the self and the self in all beings and forms, thereafter shrinks not from anything. Huh? See, vijugupsate. The word vijugupse means shrink. Shrink means what? You are hate something. Huh?
Diminish.
Not just diminish. You retract yourself. You coil back.
Oh, recoil.
Recoil away.
Withdraw.
Huh?
Withdraw.
Withdraw. Yes, withdraw. But it is more towards the So right now, if a drunken comes and says, hello my dear, hey, put your hand away. Huh? Or you see a murderer on the TV, how can these people do that? Huh? You see a mafia, you see a beggar. In India, you can see those people with leprosy. I don't know if you have seen. The skin is continuously pouring out the pus. You pass them, there is a stink. How do you feel? Oh, repulsed. There is repulsion. There is attraction and there is repulsion, isn't it? Reaction, action, reaction. Opposites. Attraction, repulsion. Love, hate. Like, dislike. This Vijugupsate is telling this. Wherever there is duality, wherever there is sense of separation, there is going to be repulsion. It cannot be always love, 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 love. No, there will be hate sometime. Wherever there is sense of otherness, it cannot be always, I love you my dear. No, there will be war sometime. There will be argument sometime. There will be misunderstanding sometime. That's the nature of duality. Understand the principle, huh? And keep personalizing it. That is the nature of duality. Duality is only a pair of opposites. Sometimes the pendulum swings this way, sometimes it swings this way. It's a yo-yo. It cannot be, oh, when will the Satyug come? Satyug has come and gone, now it is Kalyug. Oh, for how long? It will also go, wait. Huh? Oh, the weather is very bad. We thought it will be sun and now it has been raining for 2 days. Wait, this will also go away. Sun will also come. Then 2 months of sun. Next 2 months is going to be summer. Oh my God, only sun, sun, sun. We need what? Wait. It will go away and rains will also come. The summer will give way to autumn. See? So change is there. This nature of this creation, this creation is because of sense of otherness. Creation is because of sense of otherness. Creation as you know it, the names and forms and etc., the differences that you see. And understand this, I see you are separate to me. I see my body, but I say I am the body. Rule changes. So this sense of otherness, the rule of this sense of otherness is these opposites have to function throughout this duality. So here when it says Vijugupsate, that this person, this sage, this is a very famous mantra, it comes in Bhagavad Gita also, that a person does not hate anything. He is not having aversion to anything. He is not repulsed by anything. He doesn't recoil from anything. Why? Because his experience is that I am the self, this self is of the nature of existence, consciousness and bliss, and this self is all pervasive, and therefore what is there for me to be repulsed and from what? I can't repel, I can't run away from anything when I am everything. I am pervading everything. If that is the case, what will I run away and where will I run away? Go back into my room and close all the doors. Then the darkness you'll say, oh, I want to get away from the darkness. I feel claustrophobic. Then where will you run? No place for you to run. So that thought is being presented here. To realize one's own self is to realize at once its oneness with the total self. It is not that once first you will come to know the spirit, and then you have to go, oh, I am also the spirit in my child, I am also the spirit in my other child, I am also the self in my friends. Not like this. Bang! Everything. But first you must have this understanding that this self that you are recognizing yourself to be is of the nature of all pervasiveness. See, when we do pranayam and etc., people, those who do that, they come to this self, but they have not studied Vedanta, they have not studied Gita. They come to intuit it, they remain in samadhi, but because they have not taken this next step, that this self that I am accessing on the seat of meditation, I recognize myself to be, it alone is the only truth in this world. So they stop there. For us, we have studied Vedanta, but we have not made our mind single pointed. That's why we are suffering. Make your mind single pointed. Purify the mind. So, to experience this center within us, this life force within us, is to experience the life center in everyone. Once you have come to the core within you, you recognize this core alone is expressing through everyone. There are no separate cores. Once the wave has recognized that it is water, immediately its vision is that of the water. What is that? Water is pervading everything. There is nothing else other than me. Then what will it hate? The wave was there. Oh, this wave is in competition to me. Oh, that big wave is coming and purposely it is coming after me because it wants to eat me up. And it is, oh, help, Lord, this big wave is coming and it is pushing me towards the shore. Help, help, help. I don't want to go so quickly. I don't want to die so quickly. Is the cry of the wave. So some wise wave was passing by. He says, "Arey, you are the water where you will not be destroyed. It is only a seeming destruction of the form. But you are water." What? I am water? Yes. Where? You are that. Story over. Then it does not cry anymore. Why? It has recognized that I alone am expressing through all the waves. I am alone expressing through all the oceans. So where is their fear now? No more fear. Whom to hate, whom to compete with, whom to run away from, whom to like, whom to dislike. There is nothing left. As a wave, all these things were true. As a water or as the ocean also, will the ocean hate any wave? No, all the waves are in me only. What it will hate? So this is the thought. And this self within us is the all-pervading principle. In Gita, this idea is presented by the word samatva. Samatva means equanimity. Here it was told you will not hate anything. There it was told practice the yoga of equanimity and you will come to know this self. Because what is equanimity? What is equanimity? Balance. You are neither to the left nor to the right. You are right in the center. You are neither with the likes nor dislikes. You are in the center. You are neither with love or neither with hate. You are in the center. You are neither up nor down. You are in the center. You are neither inside nor outside. You are in the center. That center is the way of the yogis, the equanimous way. And that same idea was presented here, that once a seeker has come to recognize himself, and that self is as the all-pervasive principle, then what is there for the seeker to hate anymore? That seeker has got nothing else left other than himself. And the same idea was presented there in Gita also. And both this idea as well as the idea of samatva, that is the equanimity. The moment you become equanimous, automatically anger, jealousy, greed, hypocrisy, fear, dislike, like, all these opposites in toto leave you. In toto. You don't have to work on them one by one. You just come to the self, everything's gone. Once you come to recognize I am this self and this self is all pervasive, just keep contemplating on this all pervasive. How can I be all pervasive? Think in the way the Ishavasyamadagam sarvam. And you keep thinking about it, and suddenly, where's the time to gossip? Where's the time to talk ill about anyone? Where's the time to contemplate on the guilts or the aspirations, expectations or the anxieties. No time. In that contemplation, suddenly you are transported. You are sitting here since yesterday night. How many times you had while you are while you are listening? How much time have you spent thinking about what if I was at home and I could have done? Hardly, isn't it? How much time have you spent thinking about the past? How much time have you spent thinking about what else you could do if you were at home? How much time have you spent on thinking about those people that you like or those people that you dislike? Hardly much time, isn't it? Because all the time you are thinking about your own essential nature with the help of our Upanishads. This has to become our norm during the day. Do everything. Here also you are eating, you are walking, you are talking. But whether you like it or not, out of habit, at dinner table and all, we will discuss and this and that, we'll talk about our family and everything. Why? Because that momentum is not there yet. The thrust is not there. The rocket is going towards the self, towards the space. But if the thrust is not there, before it breaks through the gravitational pull of the earth, it will fall back. So what is happening to us? The force is not enough to take us off into the realm of the self. Why? The mind is not pure yet. Why? Because the preoccupation, the old habits are still having a sway. Their gravity is too much. That's why the moment lecture is over, immediately this friend, this daughter, that daughter, this lecture, that lecture, all other talks begin except, and somewhere in between this topic will come. And so again, a little bit, and then maybe mind justifies, oh, again we have to listen for 1 hour to this lecture, we might as well talk about it. You don't consciously make that decision, but it happens. We are all guilty of it. Understand, the thrust is not there. Keep building that thrust, keep building that power. And how do you build that power and thrust? Control your senses, control your mind, regular meditation, regular contemplation. Live life alertly and with awareness. Repulsion, hatred, shrinking, dislike, fear, etc. can come not with oneself but only with another. This is what I was telling you before. In the self, these things have got no place. Because self is the abode of harmony, abode of love, abode of integrity. All is the abode of truth. In that these small things which we can call as sins, these are the sins. These have got the negative aspects. They have got no place in the place in the self. So this sense of another, this sense of the other, the sense of difference, this alone creates hatred. One master used to say that if at all there is any prayer you want to make to the Lord when you go to a church or temple or at your personal altar, make the prayer, "O Lord, please grace me with your blessings that I may not hate anyone ever in my life. At a very general level, at an empirical level, hate, oh yeah, I don't hate anyone. But we are very quick to judge. That's another expression of hate only. Because you can't love everyone continuously all the time. It's very difficult. There's only one, and that is the self, which we are always in love with all the time, without a break. Where can there be the other except accepting the self? The self alone is. It is all pervasive. There is no place for the other. Post alone is. Where's the other? It is only a superimposition on that post. And that other, we call it a ghost. That other, we call it a ornament. That other, we call it a wave. That other, we call it a mud pot. All these are superimpositions on that abiding principle behind each, which is unchanging. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhutvijanatah tatra ko moha ka shokah ekatvam anupashyatah. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhutvijanatah tatra ko moha ka shokah ekatvam anupashyatah. When to the knower all beings have come, when to the knower all beings have become one in his own Atman, how shall he feel deluded thereafter? What grief can there be to him who sees everywhere oneness? What is the grief that we have? What is this pain that we experience in our bosom?
Separation.
Correct. Differences, sense of otherness, Vijugupsa, or Jugupsa, not Vijugupsa, Jugupsa. You are looking at me, I am looking at you. You are looking at her, look at her. With how many of them you are feeling that complete unity? It's not there. You may be very good friends. You may spend the whole day together. You may eat together. You may talk to each other every day. You may discuss every day. But tickle your memory a little bit. You will find there were many instances where you did not get along together also. You disagreed also, isn't it? Where there is otherness, there will this aversion, this repulsion, this delusion, and as a result of that delusion, this aversion, it will express. And this delusion brings you grief. You expect your children to be some way, you expect your husband to be some way, you expect the world to be in a particular manner, but it never turns out to be that way. Because how can this superimposed creation, how can this ghost of a creation ever give you happiness? It cannot. Only the substratum can. You expect a ghost on the post and you're seeing the ghost. No, ghost, I think you are a loving ghost. Kiss me, cuddle me, love me. Don't scare me, huh? Is it possible? It's not possible. So is also with this creation. This creation, if you go after it, The creation is born out of our own delusions. After we delude ourselves, then we project on this reality the names and forms. And the names and forms are continuously changing, and we are trying to catch them and freeze them in time that this is my reality. But it is not. By the time you say this is mine, it's already gone. And as a result, there is grief. The small child, so lovely baby I gave birth to. Now you become a rebellious teenager. Where? I did not give birth to this fellow. It brings you grief, isn't it? Then that child gets married to someone whom you don't approve of. Then it brings grief. Then that child has children, or gets into wrong company, or gets a job or loses a job. Nothing has happened to you, it has happened to him. But you feel the grief. Why? Because you are attached to that which is not there. So what do you mean? My children are not there? My house is not there? In reality, no, it is not there. Relatively speaking, it is there. But from the self point of view, nothing. Self alone is. Whether you can digest it, I leave it to you. So, yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha. When to the knower all beings have become in his own Atman, have become one in his own Atman, how shall he feel deluded thereafter? What grief can there be to him who sees everywhere oneness? So here it says that he who has thus realized his oneness with the entire can no longer have the ordinary frustrations and tossings of the mind arising out of the ordinary psychological tensions created through delusion and through grief, moha, the moha and shokaha. Grief is directly proportional to the delusion that you have subjected yourself to. And what is the delusion? That you are an individual, that you are a mother or father, that you are some important person in this society. So the higher the delusion, that because of you, the whole country is running. Why? Because you are the Prime Minister or the President. Imagine now, at this stage, the President of some country where a black man has been elected. See the number of millions of people which have followed him. Now, it is but natural for the present president to compare his election with this fellow's election, isn't it? In his election, nobody came to congratulate him. Few cronies. But here, every mother, every child, including people from his party, have gone to the other side to welcome the advent of this new visionary leader. How he must be feeling inside? You saw him when he congratulated Obama. I extend all my cooperation and my team from, push. You work it out. The president, The previous president. Otherwise, 4 years ago, either you are with me or you are against me. My way or the highway. All those big words, isn't it? Where has that confidence gone now? Because he did not indulge in the right way. That's why. So the purpose we are giving this is, the greater the delusion that, in his book he says that Christ spoke to me. Christ spoke to me that I must go and attack that country. I am the messenger, and he has given me the right to go and do this. In his book, in his biography, it is there.
Is that written in the Bible?
One book is there. Someone was telling me, I don't know which book it is.
At the time he said,
Pardon me?
I remember at the time he said God had directed him.
God had directed, because,
I remember that.
yeah. Now, for such a deluded personality, because when the things, if God had directed, God is perfect. And if it was his direction, then things should have worked out perfectly. Has it? Imagine the grief. Throughout his life he will be complaining. Throughout his life he will be bitter. Because not one thing in his whole term or 2 terms he has ever done anything right. Not one thing. There is nothing that he can, I did it. He cannot say about anything. Neither the economy nor the international. Everyone is waiting to kick him out. The greater the delusion, the greater is the grief. Grief is directly proportional to the amount of delusion you have subjected yourself to. And what is the delusion? From where does it begin? The not self is the delusion. So remove this delusion. And how do we remove this delusion? We remove this delusion by affirming what our true nature is. Don't try to remove the delusion by thinking about the delusion. Oh, I have to remove the mind. You can't remove the mind. Try. Oh, I have to remove the delusion which is expressing as body, breath, mind, intellect. You cannot remove it. I have to remove the delusion which is expressing as space, air, fire, water, earth. You cannot remove it. Oh, this delusion of the creation, I cannot remove it. This delusion of the ghost, you cannot remove it. But what you can do is this, that by first negating the ghost, we are removing the delusion. To remove the delusion, first you have to negate. What is that? Oh, you are not the body, you are not the world, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. Oh, is it so? Then, so first is this part. You have to, it's just an understanding, it's a click. It is not that physically you are taking your body and cutting and throwing it away. Not that way. It's an understanding, it's a knack. And then that, oh, okay, so I am the one who is behind all this. Yeah, you are the one behind all this, but understand, this one who is behind all these equipments or instruments is the only one that there is. And it happens. So first the negation and then the expansion. And this way, a person who comes to know that all beings have become one in his own Atman. It's like a wave coming to know that all the waves are in me. Why? That wave has come to know that it is water. Therefore, all the waves are in me. Now, for such a wave, is there any grief? There is no grief for that, because the delusion is removed in toto once and for all. And in this manner, the thought is taken. See, as long as we have, if the space is confined to this room, the space is saying, oh, I can't, nobody allows me to go out, I want to experience what is temple space. I'm tired of having just 4 and plus 4, 8 windows and 1 door. I want more, I want a glass ceiling, I want open top. And how foolish that is! Is the space inside and the space outside separate? No, it is one and the same thing. But as long as this space attention is on the conditionings, till there it is in grief. This is the delusion. But the moment it recognizes, really speaking, I am free. Because these materials are nothing but made out of me only. 99.999% these materials is nothing but space. The moment this delusion goes away, there is freedom for the space. Whether it is inside or outside, it does not matter anymore. Same is the way with the wave also. And this way, the real ekatvam anupashyatah. So, the wise man who comes to realize this, then where is the grief for such a wise man? He is ever happy, ever blissful, abiding in his own true nature, the self, which is all pervasive. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Just sit quietly for a minute.